the Little One and the Forest Lion. In a small village near the forest, there lived a child named Bima. He liked to adventure and often played on the edge of the forest, even though his mother always reminded him to be careful. One day, while looking for firewood, Bima heard a groaning sound. Carefully, he looked for the source of the sound and found a forest lion caught in a hunter's trap. The lion's leg was injured, and he looked in pain. Although afraid, Bima felt sorry for him. He approached slowly and spoke in a soft voice. "I will help you. Don't be afraid." Carefully, Bima removed the trap from the lion's leg. The lion roared softly, then looked at Bima with grateful eyes before running into the forest. Days passed, and Bima almost forgot about the incident. Until one afternoon, when he was lost in the forest because of heavy rain, he heard a familiar roar. From behind the bushes, the lion he had helped appeared. The lion approached and gently sniffed Bima. Then he walked slowly, as if inviting Bima to follow him. With full trust, Bima followed the lion, who led him out of the forest to the village. From then on, Bima and the forest lion became friends. Although they rarely met, they trusted each other. Bima learned that kindness given will return in unexpected ways. After that incident, Bima often sat on the edge of the forest, hoping to see his new friend again. Sometimes he felt like someone was watching him from behind the trees, but he was never afraid. He knew the lion was always watching from a distance. One day, Bima's village was visited by a group of hunters looking for wild animals. They brought spears and large nets. "We heard there was a forest lion around here," said one of the hunters. "That wild animal is dangerous. We must catch it." Bima was afraid. He knew the forest lion was not evil, just a creature that lived in its own nature. That night, he could not sleep, thinking about how to save his friend. The next day, he went deeper into the forest than usual. He looked for the lion and finally found it resting under a large tree. "You must go," whispered Bima. "The hunters are looking for you." The lion looked at Bima with gentle eyes, as if understanding what he meant. Then, with calm steps, he got up and walked deeper into the forest, towards an area further from the village. When the hunters returned a few days later, they found no trace of the lion. Finally, they gave up and left. Bima smiled in relief. He knew his friend was safe. Although they might not meet again like before, Bima was happy because he had protected the creature that had once helped him. Since then, every time the wind blew gently at the edge of the forest, Bima felt like he heard the roar of his friend's lion, saying thank you from a distance. As the years passed, Bima grew into a strong and wise young man. He never forgot his friend, the forest lion. Sometimes when he went to the edge of the forest, he still hoped to catch a glimpse of his friend's shadow among the trees. One day, Bima's village was hit by a long drought. The river began to dry up and crops had difficulty growing. The villagers began to worry because the water supply was getting thinner. They decided to look for a new water source in the forest. Bima, who was already familiar with the forest, offered to lead the journey. Together with several village youths, he entered the forest, walking far along a path they had never taken before. When the sun was about to set, they arrived at a hidden valley filled with shady trees and a clear spring flowing in the middle. Bima was surprised. He felt like he had been in this place before. That was when, from behind the trees, a large lion appeared. Its yellow eyes shone softly, and Bima immediately recognized it. It was his friend. However, now the lion was older and more majestic. The villagers backed away in fear, but Bima advanced slowly with a smile on his face. "Don't be afraid," he said to the others. "He is the guardian of this forest." The lion roared softly as if welcoming his old friend. He then walked to the spring, took a drink, and sat quietly under a large tree, as if giving permission for humans to use the water source. Thanks to Bima's courage and friendship with the lion, the village finally had a new water source. They built an airway from the valley to the village, ensuring that everyone could survive the drought. From that day on, the villagers were no longer afraid of the forest. They learned to live side by side with nature and respect all the creatures in it. And Bima? He knew that his friendship with the lion would always be there, even though they no longer saw each other every day. Every time the wind blew from the direction. Since then, Bima has been the guardian of the forest and the water source that has saved his village. He teaches the villagers to maintain the balance of nature and live side by side with wild creatures, not to fear or hunt them. The lion, his loyal friend, remains in the forest. Although they rarely meet, Bima always feels its presence, in the blowing wind, the rustling leaves, and the soft whispers of nature. On quiet nights, when Bima sits on the edge of the forest, he often looks up at the stars and smiles. He knows that somewhere in the forest his friend is also watching him. Their friendship will never fade, because true bonds are not broken by distance or time. Final message: sometimes the best friends come from unexpected places. If we protect nature, nature will protect us. See you.